Game number 2 coming on in here, and this is some crazy stuff. Hopefully, we're going to see a bit more of a safe opening from the Protoss player, but first, let's introduce them. Down to the bottom right-hand position, we've got the Red Zerg playing for Roccat, none other than HyuN. And his opponent, up to the north, the blue Protoss player, representing Alien Invasion, none other than Patience. Game number 1. Patience had a bit of a build order loss. I'm saying a bit of a build order loss. I'm still, if I'm honest, a bit confused that he went for a Nexus first on Foxtrot. And that's because it's so hard to get a wall off on, and even if he did get a wall off and went for it there, the Photon Overcharge doesn't cover it. So either way, you're in a rough position. HyuN, he identified the Nexus first. He got a bit lucky with the Overlord scouting. Actually, he didn't, because it's forced cross spawns now. So HyuN scouted him, saw that it was a Nexus first, had gone, hatched gas pool, and so was able to go for a speedling. Pretty much a speedling all in at that stage. He was ending the game there. Got Lings through. Patience put up a good fight, held on, got a couple of additional gateways through, but it's just not going to be enough there. Once the speedlings are in, the damage is done. And while Patience valiantly tried to go for a 4-gate off the back of that and did some beautiful, amazing force fields and micro, it just wasn't going to be enough. HyuN was too far ahead. So this game, getting switched up a bit. Patience is going to be going for the gateway expand. This is a much safer build. Means that he's going to be relatively secure. And it's interesting. If he'd gone Nexus first on Catalina, I wouldn't have said it's the worst thing in the world. But it definitely would have been safer than Foxtrot. HyuN, on the other hand, he sees that this is a gateway expand. Even before that, he's probably committed to going for hatch pool, knowing that it'll be gateway expand, or at least guessing that it will be. Cannons could be quite good on this map. There's a decent amount of space around here that you can cannon up. Specifically down in this lower left-hand position. You can sneak a pylon in there, and as we see here, HyuN didn't even actually check for that. He still hasn't, so potentially it could be. May not have checked because he got the scout down, but it's something that could have been done. But a gateway expand is always going to be relatively certain if you have just killed your opponent and went Nexus first. They're going to be playing it safe the next map if they've just been hit by a big speedling all in. So what does this mean? HyuN going hatch pool just gets into a good position overall. Hatch pool is a great opening up against a gate expand. The gate expand can't really punish you that hard that early. Getting this third hatch up super quick means you start getting creep spread there already. You get the extra production there, the extra queens, and your economy is just going to be looking really solid. It's a great way to open. So where does this leave things? Well, HyuN is just going to be grabbing a couple of Zerglings. This is mainly for map control, getting a little bit of scouting if possible, checking for any proxy pylons that could try to get thrown down. Otherwise, Patience, chrono boosting out. Where is his chrono boost actually being spent? He hasn't spent one for a while. Keeping an eye on it. This chrono boost spend is really important. It probably was on the mothership core because it's not spam chronoing cyber core or anything like that. The 2 gases also allow us to rule out a couple of things. For a start, there won't be a big zealot playoff of 4 gates. That's something that doesn't really happen unless you've only got the 1 gas. It's a good way to deal with this third, by the way. Otherwise, Twilight Council. Alright, so no Robotech. I was going to guess Robotech personally, but it is just a guess really early on. It's going to be some kind of tech with the 2 gases, almost certainly. There are some gateway only plays. This could be 2-base Blinkstalker style. Blinkstalkers with +1 off of 5 gates, that's possible. Could be Blinkstalkers into a third with +2 on them. Again, it's a nice build. Catalina is actually a good map for Blinkstalkers. There's a decent chunk of area you can blink on up and in. Generally just a quite nice map to attack this third base as well. If you put pylons sort of around this sort of area that HyuN's checking at the moment, you can move units in, especially if you're quite sentry heavy and force field off here. That means HyuN would have to come around the back to get in, which is just a bit more awkward. So the third is definitely a little bit vulnerable. HyuN getting a bit of scouting information, coming in, sees the natural base, it's nothing crazy. Blink is going to be on the cards, and that's where the chrono boost is now going through on. Robo facility off the back of this. Alright, so this is going to be purely Blinkstalkers, or any kind of upgrades. There won't be the gas for that. Next thing to check is whether or not Patience decides on a third. He could still go for a third of this. Obviously going for 2 tech-heavy structures early on means that actually you're not going to have that much gas to play with, but you will have a decent amount of minerals because your production is low due to only that gateway. Otherwise, just 3 additional gates, going up to 4 gates. Overlord does get a money scout. That scout is super good. He doesn't see the robotics facility yet, but knows that with the Chrono Boost, that's almost definitely going to be Blink coming on through. Starts up a couple of Spore Crawlers. I'm not sure what that's in response to, because he doesn't actually see any DTs, but it's possible they could be hidden somewhere. The Dark Shrine built elsewhere. HyuN, out on the map, keeping a lot of presence, keeping a lot of checking positions of anywhere a proxy pylon could be coming down. He wants to be on top of that. 6 more gateways coming through, so it's going to be 7 gate Blink Stalkers with a Warp Prism here. So, no +1, the Warp Prism instead going to be used rather than a proxy pylon. This is pretty all in from Patience. He's going to win or lose, obviously, but relatively quickly. HyuN wants to be trying to get a bit more information. He hasn't seen the robotics facility, and he ideally would want to spot that. Has the double Evos, has the Rotron also coming through. Spore Crawler positioning is alright. Obviously, Warp Prism can come up here. Easy times. HyuN's still checking around for any kind of pylon positioning that he could ever hope to find. Finds a probe. Ignores the probe. The probe is magic. The probe is invisible. That'd be OP. Mass Recall Force there, catching a couple of Stalkers. Was the Warp Prism seen? That'd be huge. HyuN has got his Lings a long way out, and this is actually 4 sentries dropping into the main base, so this is going to be bad right now. The Warp Prism's still not spotted. Now just seen, but there's no way HyuN's going to get back in time for that. 4 sentries can endlessly force field this off, so HyuN is already in some trouble. There's no way he can come up to deal with this. Does have some roaches coming through. The drone's trying to push these sentries away from the ramp, trying to prevent the additional force fields, but there it goes. Spore Crawler getting a couple of shots off against the Observer. Wants to try and deny that if possible. Does manage to take it down. But it doesn't matter too much, because even though the Blink Stalkers are there, it's the force fields that are really important. There's still the 3 sentries. Another one could get warped in if needed, remember. HyuN is just really going to be hurting here. He's lost so many drones already. 18 have been killed. Couple more getting pulled. Just going to try and get a bit more space overall, but well, Patience, he's in a very nice position here. More roaches coming through. The 1-1 upgrades are going to be done shortly for HyuN. That's going to give him an upgrade lead, a pretty substantial one actually. Roach speed is also nearly finished. There's pretty much... Okay, in come the Lings now. Moment without a force field. They're going to try and get some damage through. There's a decent number of Zealots, though. The Blink is done for the Stalkers. The sentries are getting killed at the moment, but all in all, these Blink Stalkers and Zealots are going to survive. More drones going down. HyuN is in a very rough spot. All in all, his roach count is only at 3. That's not going to help. And unless HyuN can find a way to get a lot of roaches out, he is in a very, very tough spot. The movement of the Spore Crawlers is good. It means the Warp Prism is going to be zoned out a little away at the moment. Still the shots coming on through. Stalkers trying to get the damage down. Queen's doing everything that they possibly could hope for. Drones getting pulled. More roaches popping on out. Some on the high ground. This is actually quite helpful. It helps the attack arc, spreading out the push on 2 fronts. But while Stalkers are starting to drop, more getting warped in. The Blinks are good. HyuN doing all he can to try and hold this. Patience losing some more Stalkers, but blinking many of them back further. The roaches do have 1-1 and do have roach speed. The Queen's slowly pushing up here. Time Warp going to be used, just trying to buy a slower advance for Patience. Patience still just blinking incredibly well, keeping these Stalkers alive, maximizing his efficiency. And HyuN loses his last couple of roaches. More Stalkers just walking across now after the Warp Prism has died. But HyuN, it's not looking good for him. It's 13 army supply to 40. 39 probes to just 31. And HyuN, while he goes for a couple of Lings to try and counterattack, he knows he's in a very bad spot here. And it looks like Patience is going to be able to level this out to the 1-1 mark. There's the GG. And Patience takes us to the ace game.